Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's game of Call of Cthulhu, Path of Perdition. This is your first time joining us. My name is Alex Xander Rubitsky, and I will be your Keeper of Arcane Lore for this show. You may just call me the Keeper. Tonight, I am joined by a cast of my wonderful friends over here from Internet Remix, playing all of their individual characters that they've concocted over the last month as we are readying ourselves to embark on this story. So without further ado, I would like to introduce my players one by one. We have, of course, Split Guardian.
That is me. That's my name. He said my name. He did it.
I did it. Learn the voices because you gotta be able to identify people. And
Please
also
fucking learn my voice. Please understand who I am instead of the three other people who are in this call.
yes, and we have as well Atwis.
Hi, super hyped to be here.
Oof.
Can't wait.
No. We of course have Upgraded Moon, otherwise known occasionally as Jordan.
Hi, hello.
Hello. We are joined by Brodingles.
That is the weirdest way to pronounce it, but yeah. I'm also very excited.
And last but not least, we have both artist and player, Kristen Trzynski.
Hello, everybody.
All right, keep it short and simple. I like it. Thank you all for joining us. This is the first episode of our brand new Call of Cthulhu stream. Oh my god, it's happening. It's actually a thing that's happening. I am kind of losing it a little bit. But yeah, so we are going to actually get right into this right off the bat. Everybody get those nerves out because it's starting. It's happening. We're starting the stream. Oh my lord. So we are going to begin a game with just setting the scene real quick. The year is 1921, America, on the west coast of California, the city of Los Angeles. It is the middle of spring, and boy, oh boy, are the 20s a-roaring, everybody. We are here. I would like to ease my nerves a little bit. Some sign of enthusiasm from all of my players, so can I get a woo-woo or something, please?
Woo!
We're
Thank
here.
you. We're here. We're
There are
doing
some
it.
roaring 20s. They are pretty
Don't worry.
roaring.
I'm roaring for these 20s.
There you go. That's the first t-shirt.
There you
I'm
go.
roaring for these 20s.
Yes.
And it's like Art Deco.
You know, I
T-Rex.
would wear that.
I would wear that
I was
actually.
about to say,
I'm
I imagine a little T-Rex, but like
yeah,
1920s esque.
I'm gonna go make it.
A little T-Rex, but in a flapper's dress.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what I was
And
thinking.
like one of the feather headbands.
Perfect.
I love
Really
that.
perfect.
Mhm.
Excellent.
We did it, boys.
We did it. We good? Everything functional? Everything working? Yeah?
Seems
Good.
like it.
Perhaps.
Mhm.
Perhaps. Alrighty, well. We're gonna jump into it. You can already see the characters on screen. You already are seeing a little details about them, so you're like, oh my lordy, what's going on here? And we're gonna address that now. So we're going to begin our show. It is the night of April the 9th. A hot but somewhat cooling down as the night goes on, evening here in the City of Angels. And we are going to begin at in downtown of Los Angeles in a more not seedy but not necessarily high class either establishment known as Sayers Garden, a gambling and club hall to be found here in the City of Angels. And we weave through a smoky crowd of gambling tables and, well, it's the middle of Prohibition, so we don't got any drinks here, unfortunately. At least none that are visible to the public crowds. but between the various gambling tables and an adjoining kind of club room of live music and dancing, flappers a flappin', and gentlemen all rolling dice and playing cards and otherwise spending their cash in ill-conceived ways. We're going to first begin at a gambling table, a game of roulette. Was roulette invented yet? I don't know. I didn't research that part, but we're going to say it was. A game of roulette, and we're going to begin with our first player of the evening. We're going to go over to your character, Jordan. I will open the scene here. It is a crowded, smoky room full of laughter and conversation and all sorts of vice. And this is your crowd. You are here at the Sayers Garden, gambling away whatever it is you want to gamble away. And as we see you standing around this table, would you please describe and introduce your character, please? The first character.
All right, so Mason Allen, a 5'8", blonde, green-eyed, very, very pretty man. Just kind of sit at the table. I've never played roulette before. I don't know how it works, so we're just gonna assume that he's fiddling dice between his fingers.
So the way roulette works,
bouncing his mouse.
the way roulette works is it's the big. You've seen it before. It's the big.
It's
spinning,
the big circle thing.
Big
yeah?
spinning circle. Yes, where they drop the ball in it, and you're just placing your bets what number and it's going to land on. Essentially, it's a game of chance. You know, so that's
Excellent.
what roulette is. It's one of the most basic forms of gambling, next to blackjack.
Excellent. Oh yeah. Well, in that case, instead of dice, it's just a ball. He's got the little ball twiddling it. Is it his turn?
No, the way it works is that you throw down cash and place your bets, and then the dealer drops the ball. So.
Okay.
But
I
you have
see.
a ball. You
So
have
pretend
a ball that you're holding. Yes.
He has a ball that he's holding.
He's fiddling chips.
Ooh,
Fiddling.
the chips, the dice, the poker chips. Yes.
Even greater
Absolutely.
idea. We're gonna retcon the ball. We're gonna retcon the dice. He's fiddling chips. Fiddling chips. In his
Split
hand.
coming with like, perhaps I know more about this situation.
My actual gambling experience.
Hey, it works.
I don't know. Like the most gambling I've done is finding a villager in Minecraft. So that's about as big of a gamble as I'm ever gonna get. But yes, Mason's just kind of fiddling some chips. Maybe he's kind of like toying around with a dollar in his pocket in the other hand, a coin or two possibly. But yes, Mason has this kind of like maroon button-up shirt that's just buttoned down by two. The collar's popped. He's got black suspenders and kind of like some beige slacks. Beige
Absolutely.
colored slacks.
And you are engaged in some fun gambling. And, you know, calling the shots, you feel confident with your money for reasons we're not going to go into at the moment. But there is a confidence, but an otherwise, emotionally, describe an emotional sense from Mason if you'd be so kind.
Emotional sense is distracted.
Distracted.
Mason is distracted, a little cloudy-minded, but nonetheless, absolutely confident. Absolutely confident.
Absolutely. Excellent. Well, you know, I'm gonna not even waste any more time. I'm gonna ask you to make the first roll of the campaign. For the sake of gambling, why don't you roll a luck check for Mason to see how well he is doing tonight?
Absolutely. A luck check from Mason, running over to the character sheet, and
There it is. The first roll, chat. God. And it's very successful. So I would describe then that you are. How much? Let's frame this a little bit more. How much money are you really throwing down? You don't give an exact number amount, but really just in rough terms, how much indulgence is Mason going into tonight?
oh, Mason is cocky, incredibly cocky. Let's say that he put down $55.
Oh
Which is a
wow!
lot.
Big spender. In these
Absolutely a
times.
lot for But I mean, after the shit that he went through recently, you know, he's feeling pretty confident in his chances.
Oh, for sure. Excellent. No, you are, to say you're wiping the board is, you know, would be a little generous, but you are really just holding your own. You're losing some, but, you know, mostly gaining it back. It is a very nice distraction. No, man, so going back to what I was saying with Mason, no, man, you are holding your own. You are doing just fine out here. You know, like I said, it's not like you're bringing in, you know, egregious gains, but like you are, it's a nice pleasant distraction. And in the smoke-filled air of the room, there's a you know, a couple of gentlemen surrounding the board as well. Some of them have got women on their arms, others are just kind of playing alone, got their hats, you know, brimmed low, smoking cigarettes and cigars and brooding over their losses. And as you kind of win once again, I'd say, like, from a few times in a row, this one particular dude in a full-on suit just like plucks the cigar up his mouth, just like looks over you just fucking scornfully and just says, "Yeah, real fucking nice there, buddy. Yeah, okay." And he just like walks away from the table, just throwing down the rest of his chips, seemingly just done with the amount of luck you've got on display tonight.
And Mason kind of takes a minute to suck his teeth and like furrow his brow, scrunch his nose. Talk about a sore loser, huh?
The people around you kind of laugh a bit. This one woman kind of like sidles up to you and says, "Some people just don't know how to handle a real man."
And Mason kind of like tilts his head, giving her a little eyebrow raise. His left eyebrow goes up. And do you think you know how to?
I would. This very, very obvious flapper kind of attire she's got set up here. Young woman, maybe in her like mid-20s, so a bit older than you. Kind of holds a cigarette holder, you know, those long black slender rods, cigarette insert on the other end. Black lipstick. And like kind of like a very smoky, steely blue eyeshadow on an otherwise pretty slender face. She says, "Been told I've learned to from time to time."
Oh, is that so?
Yeah, I like
Are you
to think
particularly keen in showing your abilities? Yeah, I'd say he continues gambling. After the next win, though, he's gonna decide to call it for the night. And just take what he's got. You know, you can never be too careful about it. And head back to wherever he was.
Absolutely. Well, then we are now going to cut over to the other side of the Sayers Gardens, the more nightlife clubbing side of this establishment. As we move over there, the more the pleasant din of the music from the gambling hall opens up into the much more raucous band that drums and plays away in the next room over. We are going to cut over now to Kristen's character. Hello.
Is Twitch cooperating? Apparently it's jumping again.
Twitch is fully, my visual says it's working and is up completely.
Okay.
Yeah.
It started
Figured I'd
buffering
check.
at some point, and then like everybody said it was doing the thing. So that's why I wrote out in chat that it might have been doing the thing. So you might have missed a bit of Mason's conversation. You might not have. We'll know at the end of this.
Exactly.
Okay.
Hell yeah.
Just wanted to make sure.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you for being vigilant, chat. We are having some funky juice going on today, so hopefully that'll cease. But hopefully it won't be too much of a distraction. We'll figure it out. Yes, the big band that plays in the next room over in the dance hall where there are various tables. It's of food lined out around a large dancing hall floor as the band blares and goes, dancers, attractive men and women of all sorts, just flying around the dance floor, having a raucous good time. We are going to find ourselves settling on one specific young lady for the evening. Kristen, would you like to describe and introduce your character?
Sybil Cordova is 4'11". She is dressed just to the absolute nines, has that flapper headband with the feathers and the pearls, and she's got this gown that just glitters and just swishes with every movement. She's just decked out in pearls and jewelry. She's just, all eyes go straight to her. She's just this little beacon of energy and light. She's having a good time. She's having the best time.
How is she feeling? How's she doing?
She's feeling great.
Yeah?
The night's young, and so is she. So she's just doing whatever she can to just have a good time.
And
like,
you're just like free dancing, like no, just going around, nothing in particular, just going.
Nothing in particular, just go. Like, you know, if someone comes up to her, she will absolutely dance with them. So it's not like she'll say no, but she also won't stay attached for very long.
Absolutely
Like,
going.
she will happily dance with whoever. It's like from person to person, and people want to dance with her. They definitely do, but it's always like, you know, one and then she's off to the next person.
For sure, just going buck wild.
For very long.
Yeah, absolutely. Flying from person to person across the room, just having a great fucking time here. The music is loud, the air reeks of smoke and sweat, and it is the best. It is just the best. A kind of underlay of like cooked veal steaks, just like roasted restaurant club food. This place is heaven for you right now. And as you fly from like person to person, one at a time, going at it buck wild and crazy, just vibing. That's not a thing that's not a phrase that exists for the 1920s, but you are just
She's
vibing.
totally vibing.
You're vibing. Sybil was vibing before there were vibes, so
Yes.
absolutely. You fly, people are all just like awestruck by your just presence upon this room, just this beacon and bastion of chaos and, for a lack of a better word, hedonism, essentially. Just a beacon of hedonism. Does any do any vices in particular appeal to her? It is of course prohibition, but is she the kind to smoke or indulge in any other forms of substances?
She definitely smokes. She definitely also ate a lot, but not enough to make herself sick while dancing. Like, listen, dancing was her primary concern for this whole thing, but she definitely smokes, and it's always like, you know, whatever is the best that's available. She would want to drink, but I think that like she's like, you know, it's not fun. You know, it's not fun to drink without having people around. People like, you know.
Yeah, it also doesn't help that there's no drinks in this establishment either.
Exactly, there's no drinks.
Exactly.
So it's like,
well,
would she have it were available? Yes.
According to the cops, there's no liquor on site. But anyone who spent more than a couple days at Sayers Gardens knows there's a speakeasy around here somewhere. Just a matter of...
She's probably trying to figure her way into that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You're dancing around, indiscriminately bouncing between men and women, just having a good time. You know, various people are just like, oh my god, you're amazing! Just like...
I know!
It's like, what's your name, Dollface? Heck, you should dance a little longer with me.
Think about it.
And just moving on, you're having a good time. Do you ever tire out?
No.
No, never.
Absolutely not. Listen, I'm 20. I have all the energy in the world. Tiredness is for people who are like 23, and I'm not there yet.
You know,
so...
you say that you are trying to make your way, slowly just trying to like figure out where that is. How about... From what you described, sounds like as you're dancing around, you're also trying to figure out a little bit of where's the hot spot here.
Where's the good stuff?
Well, then why don't you give me a charm check as Sybil?
Oh, all right. I mean, I gotta.
Incredible. Would you look at that? A hard success. Oh my god, no. Not only is like nobody suspicious of you and like holding back information. Everybody you meet is like trying to be the one that tells you where to go so that they can be the one to show you. Again, men and women indiscriminately. At one point there's like you kind of off the dance floor a little bit, still partying. There, you find yourself kind of aside a crowd of a couple of like very sharply dressed men in suits smoking at a table. Various other young club-going women who are hanging about these men as well. You kind of find yourself just kind of like drifting with the crowd, and one of the men with kind of like a cigar just goes, "You're quite the dancer out there, honey. You ever considered doing something professionally?"
It's an idea, but, you know, who has the time for that sort of thing?
One of the girls like looks at you and says, "But do you like the movies?"
I do like the movies. That's true. That's true. Why do you ask?
Well, just you remind me of a movie star is all, miss.
Oh, thank you. That's so nice.
She like the woman kind of giggle and laugh and goes, "You really got the looks for it. You're kind of like you're kind of like another Mae Marsh, you know?" And then one of them goes, "Oh, she has a new movie coming out this year." It's like, "I know."
Oh, really? What sort of movie? Tell me.
The girl's like, "It's like, well, I mean, I don't know. I just heard that it's coming out." One of the men at the table goes, "Yeah, Dan, what was that movie we saw that Mae Marsh brought in last year?" He goes, "The Little Afraid Lady." "Yeah, that one. Good movie. One of the girls like wanders over to you and she says, "Oh my God, do you think like you would ever maybe consider doing some acting?"
Ooh. I mean, you know, I hadn't really thought about it before, but now that you brought it up to me, I'd have to think about it. I'd have to pen it into my schedule.
Oh my God,
though.
you have, like one of the girls rushes to you and takes your hand and goes, "You have to meet the doctor."
Who's the doctor?
"I'll show you, come on." Takes you by the hand and begins to guide you, leading you through kind of like the back kitchen area of the club and into the side alleyway where there are steps leading down to a very innocuous looking just cellar. And as she gets to the bottom door, she just kind of like knocks a few times and this little sliding hatch just slides open and closes again. The door pops open into like a long dark like cellar hallway. There's just this beefy dude in like a wife beater, just like leaning up against the wall, smoking a cigarette, and just gestures down the hall with you. The young lady you're with like grabs your hand and says, "Come on, this way," and begins to lead you down the hallway. It opens up into a much larger chamber, an underground speakeasy that you guys open into. The smell of spirits, liquors, the heavy haze of smoke in the air, and various sorts all just enjoying a nice drink.
This is more like it.
Yeah. She pulls you over across the room, like looking around, and pulls you over to like a side booth in this speakeasy, where there's like a couple of other like men kind of hanging around the surrounding tables, a few women who are also clustering in the booth, and on one side of the booth there is a gentleman in like maybe his like mid to late 40s, very respectable looking sort in a kind of just a normal black suit, very well combed, greased hair, clean shaven, has an immediate, like these kind of like slightly piercing blue eyes, this immediate air of just like power and charisma exuding off of him. She silently escorts you over. And the gentleman who is not smoking anything, but a few other people around him are, glances over and gives you just a wide, warm, interested smile. And he says, "Well, hello there. Who would you happen to be?"
My name's Sybil Cordova. You're the doctor, I presume?
"Please, call me Ed. Dr. Edward Augustine."
Oh, nice to meet you, Dr. Edward Augustine.
Takes your hand. "Have a seat, why don't you?"
Gladly.
What, if I may ask, Miss Cordova, was it brings you to my table tonight?
Oh, you know, I'm just having a nice night on the town, and I was told perhaps that you'd be interested in meeting me.
Ha, well, please tell me what about you I'd be interested in meeting, Miss Cordova.
I don't know. Star power, money, I don't know. How about you tell me about yourself? Dr. Augustine.
Well, there's not a lot to tell, but I'd be more than happy to share. I consider myself, well, the ladies call me a doctor. I do technically have a doctorate. But I'm more of what you would refer to as a Freudian, though I personally find the term a little trite and contrived.
I see.
A therapist, one might say. Psychoanalyst, although I lend myself more towards the arts community than anything else.
Oh, I see. Oh, I mean, the human mind is a sort of art.
That it is, Miss Cordova, that it is.
Mhm.
I find beauty in art, all the expressions therein. The ladies around here mostly come to me because they're interested in my support in their theatrical or even motion picture endeavors. I consider myself a person who knows people and likes to see the arts well funded. You have the air of somebody who might look real pretty up on a stage.
Well, I wouldn't say no.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. Are you up for a little reading material?
Yes. Yes,
Well,
I think I am. Well, it depends. I do have a train to catch tomorrow. Is it
That's-
something I could
Oh,
perhaps...
that's more than fine. I'd be more than happy to lend you a copy. I have more than enough. It's a play. I hope you enjoy plays, Miss
I
Cordova.
do.
Wonderful.
I am a fan.
Well, I think you'll find it quite interesting. It's a very transubstantial piece, and as he reaches into a bag, this gentleman in a suit and a fedora walks up and clears his throat, and Dr. Augustine looks up and he goes, "We need to go." And Augustine kind of stops short and goes, "Indeed. So sorry, Miss Cordova. It appears I am having to make my leave for the evening." He stands up very hastily, picking up his case. It was an absolute pleasure making your acquaintance. Tell you what, if you ever find yourself on the East Coast, and you can hear after me, please inquire within. If you ever find yourself in Vermont either, I'd be more than happy to see you. I maintain a resort up there. So sorry, but I need to make a hasty exit. Sometimes the
Fine.
life of the party gets a little too hot under the collar, if you know what I mean.
Understandable. You have a lovely evening, Dr. Augustine.
You as well, Miss Cordova. And he exits from the speakeasy. And leaving your evening up to however you desire, but now we're going to move away from Sybil's endeavors. Thank you very much, Kristen. Next on the list, we are now going to move.
Portofino, holiday destination for the rich.
That was weird. No one else hear voices suddenly?
No. But I
Very
guess that is
sweet
very
voices.
on brand.
Holiday destination for the rich.
I heard the
The
exact
postal
same
card
voice
to be
saying the
assigned
exact same
original.
thing again.
That was very
So-
weird. Why is it doing that?
Directly into my ear now.
Interesting. Well,
Something.
something. It's whatever. That was very bizarre, but it's all right. No, we're gonna move over now to another one of our players for the evening, although much, much, much later. In fact, in the wee early hours of the morning of the next day, when the sky is still the dark of night growing into the kind of hazy blue before the sunrise even struck, we find ourselves in a car parked on the curb outside of a hotel, and inside that car, Split. You like to describe your character?
Oh, so my man James is a very large man for the time, about 5'10", kind of scrunched up in the car a bit. He just decent jawline, very average overall. Anything that would be further described, slick back hair, and anything that would be further described is underclothing. And
Excellent.
he's just sitting and waiting, grin on his face.
Absolutely. Sitting and waiting, watching over the hotel. You can see the marquee over the hotel door labels it as the Hotel Cibola. More kind of like mid-range establishment, but it's definitely not high class, but it's pretty comfortable if you can pay the right price. You're sitting here just keeping an eye out. And let's get some thematically appropriate music in here, shall we?
Please.
Yes.
Turns up the radio.
Yeah, 1 second. Something a little mysterious but alluring, much like your character himself. There we go. Well, seems the music bot broke, so it's all right. It is what it is. You know, sometimes it happens, and sometimes it is infuriating all the same. But whatever. We are going to figure it out, and we'll just move on, and hopefully it'll work going forward.
Eventually it'll work.
Sometime. Yeah, but it's all good. Now, so after a while of waiting, after a while of waiting, James, someone approaches the car, opens the passenger side door. There we go.
Perfect timing. Fuck.
There we go. That was really good timing, y'all.
That was really good.
The side door opens up, and getting into the car, unassuming, dressed, in a trench coat, hat worn low over the eyebrows, just kind of keeping a low profile, flips inside, and after just a moment, this gentleman says, "Sorry, I'm late.
No problem at all.
Any moved over from the hotel?"
Haven't seen anything.
The man lifts his head up a little bit more, and kind of the early morning light through the windows of your car, you can kind of make out the hastily unattended stubble on his face, and the lines of age. This man's creeping up there into his 50s. Kind of get a little gray going around in the hair, the bushy eyebrows. Slips you a small little folder and just says, "They told me that you're the one who's gonna try to nab this guy. And, well, left a couple things in there for you if you find you need them."
And he's gonna take the folder and he's gonna flip it open and look through it.
Flip it open. There's, a few photographs in there taken. He's kind of a much cheaper camera of the age, so they're very blurry, very low detail, taken from across the street. However, there is one photo that's actually a much nicer photograph that's taken of a group shot of a group of men varying in ages from their early 20s to early 40s, all kind of dressed in suits, slicked back hair, all smoking and all looking like they own a small bit of the world. And on that one, the gentleman in your car just points at one of the figures who seems to be repeated throughout the other photos, and just goes, "Oh, the guy you're after, Vito Castiglione, got connections to Chicago outfit. Not a lot of family out in these parts, but he's had enough pride out here. He did some rum running a few years back, mostly during the war, but afterwards too. People really want him in many different counties. He's got connections here, got connections in Chicago. Sounds like he's gonna be on the move like this morning. There's a telegram that a lot of people want to see him behind bars. A lot of people want to be doing what you're doing. I owe it as a courtesy to some of our mutual friends. I'm tipping you off about this information. He is, for lack of better words, he's a bit of an asshole. Real trigger finger, definitely survived his time. Got him when he got connections to a Chicago crime family.
Got it.
His bounty, real expensive.
How
Not
expensive
willing.
you talking?
I'm not willing to give the price tag, but high. Especially
High
in
is
the right
good.
counties, specifically around Albuquerque. And, as luck would have it for you, Mr. O'Connell, Mr. Castiglione, be passing through Albuquerque on his train. You find a way to maybe, I don't know, subdue him, get him in cuffs if you got him, get him off a train. Handle it carefully because he definitely will be traveling with some kind of protection. Hand him in Albuquerque, and I think you'll probably have a paycheck that'll set you up for the next few years if you spend it wisely.
Got it. I'll be sure to put forward to our mutual friends that you helped me very well. Appreciate it.
Yeah, it's the least I could do. You got any other questions?
This guy, piece of shit.
Real piece of shit.
That's all I need to hear.
Yeah. Oh, and another thing. He's traveling via the California Limited along the Atchison, Topeka, and Santa Fe. You can get a ticket at La Grande Station. It's gonna be a bit pricey, especially for when I know what you're used to, but for what he's worth, yeah,
Worth it.
you'll be reimbursed in no time. Almost feels like we're living in one of those old Wild West stories sometimes. Not seen many dead or alive bounties. The first in a long time.
Well, hopefully he won't fight me too hard. Don't want to have to bring a corpse to a police station.
Yeah, no. There's a few questions when you do that kind of thing.
I always ask fucking questions.
Alright, well. If there's nothing else, good luck, kid. And the
You have yourself a good day.
anonymous gentleman steps out of your car, takes a moment to walk about 5 steps up the sidewalk, pulls a case of cigarettes out of his pocket, lights a cigarette, stands there for a good few minutes just smoking, looking around unassumedly, and then doubles back, walking down the block, and disappears into the tangle of the early morning Los Angeles streets as the sun just begins to break over the city of angels. Thank you very much, Split. Moving on now to something else entirely. Now finding ourselves at a different hotel here in Los Angeles. This city accommodates many different types of folk, and a more middle class but still pretty respectable establishment. Its inhabitants vary from all sorts to passing travelers, businessmen, and some vagabonds who just need a place to sleep for the evening. Whereas a few of our other already established characters we've met today find themselves deeply asleep after a evening at the Sayers Garden in their rooms here, getting up at the crack of dawn from, one might say, a relatively poor thing of sleep. We're going to find ourselves over with your character, Atwis. If you'd like to introduce and describe your character.
All right. Kit Sullivan is a man of a relatively small frame, dresses conservatively, well buttoned up. One might say he has the air of a professional. Unfortunately, he is also very easily identified as a veteran of the Great War. The right side of his face is a bit of a mess. The doctors did the best they could, but it's more than a little recognizable.
And how is he... What's his current state of mind, you would reckon?
current state of mind would be anxious. He spent all day yesterday getting some affairs in order, wiring money, making a few trips to a pawn shop here and there, but he's been putting this off for far too long, and he needs to call home before he gets on this train.
Yes, absolutely. And would you be so kind as to describe the visual of like the state of his room, what he's got lying around, what possessions are currently with him?
Yeah, state of the room is fairly Spartan, not too much in terms of clothing. Hasn't been staying here all too long, but he's also used to packing very light. There's a suitcase. There's a there's a bag of supplies here and there. There's also a very long case. It is closed, but one might mistake it for an instrument case, but it's a little narrower than that.
Mm-hmm. And with some heft to it, one might say.
Just a bit.
Just a bit. Yeah, you said you need to make a phone call. This is before the age of extensive phone calls available in rooms, I would say, especially for this hotel. But the hotel club lounge has a telephone that you may use. And in the early hours of the morning, you don't currently expect there to be many people waiting around to use that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, all right. I'll head down, pick up the receiver, talk to the operator, see if I can get a connection through. It's, what is it? East Coast is 3 hours ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Should be fine. People will be awake.
Exactly. You talk to the operator, you get put through, and then the phone line begins to ring for a bit. And as it rings, I assume there is a growing pit of anxiety that just sinks deeper and deeper and deeper into Kit's stomach.
Yeah.
Before you hear the line click as it connects, there is a pregnant pause, altogether a few seconds long, but for you it is an extensive. It feels almost like an hour. Just waiting before you hear a voice in a line go, "Sullivan residence."
Aaron, is that you?
Kit, that you?
Yeah.
Kit, what
just
the
wanted
hell?
Liz, I just wanted to call in and. You're mad at me.
No, Kit, I can never be mad at you. I haven't heard from you in a long time.
Yeah,
I'm
I
glad
know.
to hear your voice, but Kid, what the hell?
Yeah, I just wanted to call and let you know I'm fine. Job went all right. I'll be heading to.
So things were. Your cough still there?
Yeah, it's getting better. Don't worry about it.
I hope so. I'm hear very faint background voices, and you hear your sister go, "Oh, shit. Hold on." And then you hear like her voice kind of muffled as if she's taking the phone and like is holding it against her chest, and you hear her just kind of being like, "No one. It's okay. Don't have to worry about it. No, yeah, it's fine. I'll be there in a minute." When they find out that you called, they're gonna be pissed, Kit.
You're a lifesaver, Aaron.
You know what I'm good at.
Yeah.
Look, okay, I'm glad to hear that Peru went well. I'm glad to hear that everything was, hunky-dory. Just, please, for real this time, Kit, come home.
I was calling to mention I'll be heading off to Chicago, then New York. So if you have anything you want to say to Dad, I'll be probably seeing him soon.
I'll send a word along for him.
Yeah, you get my wires.
Yeah, of course I get your wires. They paid you that much?
It's a little complicated. Let's call it a finder's fee.
You have a lot of stories to tell me when you get home, mister.
Well, don't hold your breath, Aaron. I'm sorry.
It's okay. Just, I look forward to seeing you again.
Yeah, it'll be great to see you too. And I love Ma, but please don't mention I called. I don't think I could handle it.
Secret's safe with me. I'll tell her it was kind of I don't know. I think maybe the milkman was trying to get her to get some more delivery set up. I think I can probably cover it with that.
Thanks, Aaron. And yeah, I'll be on the California Limited. Hopefully, I'll be on within the next few months or so.
Where did you get the money for the California Limited from the job?
Oh, I told you, finder's fees.
Damn, I had to get in the business of archaeology, apparently.
Well, archaeology or what's it called? Expedition support.
Yeah. Well, okay. Ugh, I gotta go. The mom's back in the room. Talk to you later. I look forward to seeing you. I miss you a lot, Kit.
Yeah, I miss you too, Aaron. Take care.
The line connects. Set the phone down. Standing at the bar, in the lounge, you hear a voice, coming from behind you. Just say, "Early morning for a phone call." Kind of glance over your shoulder, and you see standing behind you, a familiar face. This is your new acquaintance, Mr. Jackson Elias, an African-American man, average height and build, got this kind of short hair, habitual grin, wearing a bit like a tweed suit, sporting a fedora hat, currently smoking from a pipe that he's just finished lighting. As you turn around, kind of sidles up to the bar next to you, and just goes, "Well, gotta make contact with the motherland, yeah?"
Yeah, something like that. How's your stay been, Mr. Elias?
All things considered, I'd say my stay has been pretty respectable. The bed wasn't too bad. I've definitely slept in worse. After having slept on the ground for a few days, I think a little bit of a lumpy, cheap Los Angeles bed is a pretty good deal for me. And
Yeah, more than beats the jungle.
Beats a few other things from that jungle. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, hope I'm not bothering you, Mrs. Sullivan.
No, not at all. It's good to have company.
He nods. And it is. I got an invitation from Sybil and Mason. Go out with them last night, but honestly speaking, I felt a little heavy-hearted. I wanted to spend an evening, and glad to see you up early, though. I hope you slept decently.
All things considered.
He kind of gives you seriously looks over you and just says, "You been doing all right?"
Yeah, I've been doing all right. Just been looking for work here and there since we've been here, but no such luck.
Well, sorry to hear that, but based on what we've made back there in Peru, I think you're gonna be more than set up for the foreseeable future. Oh, I know. He gesticulates a lot with his pipe as he talks. I know. You wanted to give most of your gains back to your family connections. I respect that. But I hope you at least leave a little behind to treat yourself, of course, Mrs. Sullivan. Well, I think by now, it's safe to assume I can call you Kit.
You can call me Kit.
All right. By the way, for anyone who doesn't, since I forgot to describe that, Jackson is in his middling to late 30s, but definitely looks a little bit older than that. Maybe going into his 40s. He just smiles and goes, "I tell you what, I'm gonna have plenty of material to write for my next book when we get back to New York."
You're gonna have a hell of a time cutting that down, that's for sure.
Oh, yes, most definitely. Gonna have to cut out all the weirder bits, but I think that we'll find it's interesting story all the same.
Interesting, yeah. Kit sort of reaches into a pocket of his vest and pulls out a pocket watch. It's definitely gold. It perhaps looks a little more expensive than it should be, and he checks the time on it.
Yeah, it's going on
Well,
like 8 a.m. now.
Mason and Sybil should be heading down soon.
It depends on exactly how much they indulged in last night. I'm pretty certain that Sybil's the kind of person who is magnetically attracted in the direction of vice. But of course, no shame on her for that part. I mean, I myself indulge.
Right, no shame at all. And they made it back, I'm sure.
He kind of like gives you like a sly look, conspiratorial look, and pulls his like briefcase up on the counter. Kind of looks around the bar lounge is empty. He goes, honestly, looking behind that bar shelf reminds me of better days before they got rid of the good stuff. But before we left, I may have grabbed a few bottles from the land where things are still civilized and cultured. Flips the latches of his suitcase and pulls out a bottle of Peruvian pisco. And you can actually see that there's actually 3 bottles in that briefcase. And he says, now look, technically, under the Constitution, or whatever they add the laws to, it is illegal for me to transport anything outside the privacy of my home. But I say hell to that. We deserve a drink, even though it's only, 8 o'clock in the morning?
Who's counting? Kit puts the pocket watch back. Well, God's bless our southern cousins.
He uncorks the bottle of pisco. It's a Peruvian brandy, and pours like small glasses that he like kind of fuddles around on the counter and just goes, I won't tell anyone if you don't. Pours some glasses, passes you. You enjoy a nice sip or two. He puffs from his pipe and just goes, but all things considered, I think we got weird stuff behind us. Normalcy ahead.
Here's hoping. Kit sort of raises the glass a little bit and
raises it back and
takes a
turns
drink.
with you. Takes it back. Goes, so I'm gonna go out for a bit of an early morning walk. I've rented a cab to come by around about 30 minutes from now. If you could rouse Mason, Sybil, and get him to come down to the La Grande station, we can buy our tickets for the train down.
Yeah, I'll go blow the Revier. All right.
Thank you very much, Kit. Don't go,
Of course.
Good luck waking the dead.
Better at that than you think.
I bet. And excellent. Well, we're going to drift away from that now. And last, but certainly not least, ladies and gentlemen, we find ourselves now going to Ro, your character. If you would like to, before we just set the scene, of course, doing a little off the reservation here, would you like to introduce and describe your character?
Sunil is he'll say medium sized, but he's between 5'4" and 5'6". It depends on the day. He's a young brown man with a little Newsies S cap. It's not entirely like authentic, but you know it's what he's got. He's dressed like a quote unquote young man, and he just that's where it be.
That's where it be. Excellent. Sunil is staying somewhere. That's a given. But aside from this hotel where we have just left, and the hotel where a car sits parked on the dark street looking after, those aren't really Sunil's establishments where he's been bedding his head down. Where has Sunil been staying in his time in LA until recently?
Sunil has been staying in LA for a couple months.
Mm-hmm.
He's been he had like the facility he was with did provide like housing for a while. It's not like the greatest place to be, but it's not like the worst place to be.
Yeah.
It's pretty much it's pretty secure for 1920s LA.
Absolutely. Yeah, and as you woke up this morning, you gotta be up a little early because this train is leaving at like 10 in the morning. You gotta make sure you're ready enough, keep everything packed up, and make sure you didn't leave anything behind. This little, simple residence you've been given by the Institute. You packing everything, going over all of your belongings, make sure that everything is in order, that all things are good. You got your clothes, your personal possessions, and then all of your work-related information, all that consolidated to a couple of briefcases and suitcase. And there's a telegram that you had received a couple days ago. You just kind of like left it sitting in your kitchen here. It is from your most recent associate here in the city, your colleague, Jason Murphy, sent you a telegram giving you, informing you about train information, also, and how the tickets for this are usually pretty expensive, but his contact in Chicago is considering it kind of a welcoming gift into the work you two are about to embark upon. And also includes in his telegram a phone line that you can go through the operator to connect to the Institute in Chicago if you wanted to ring up this new acquaintance of yours before embarking out this morning.
Sunil's just like, cool. Sunil is just, he's just like, okay, so it's time to make a phone call. It's time to find a phone to pick up and call the Institute.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that is the Cavendish Institute in Chicago is the name of it. You find a phone, go through the operator process, and after, a little bit of routing around, you get connected to, connected through the line. You hear, kind of an older voice just go,
Yeah. Yes, good morning. Who is this? Who am I speaking to?
Yes, it's Sunil Pandey.
Ah, Mr. Pandey. Pleasure to hear your voice. I've been told a lot about you. You got the tickets, yes?
Yes, I did get the tickets. Jason sent them over.
Excellent. California Limited, beautiful train. Taken westbound many times myself. The eastbound journey I've heard is quite something in exchange. Listen, I want you to feel comfortable on your journey here to Chicago. Don't feel obliged under any circumstances that you have to pay for anything yourself. I put down some money. It is my treat. I have to say, I've heard great things about you and your work, and I'm very excited to be working together, Mr. Pandey. So just take this as a treat from me.
That's very kind of you. I'm glad to take. I'm ready to get going.
Glad to hear that. It'll take you about a couple days, I think, the train. They get faster as the years go by. You'll probably be here in a couple days. I'll keep an eye on the schedule. If I don't meet you at the station personally once you arrive in Chicago, I'll send one of my assistants to get you. Sorry, you caught me in the middle of my, breakfast. Your ticket will get you access to a shared berth compartment. I hope you don't mind bunking with somebody.
Oh, I don't mind at all. I mean, I'm not paying for it. Who am I to?
No, I am. I'm the one paying for it. And I hope you enjoy it, Mr. Pandey. I hope you're finding America to your liking, and I hope you will enjoy Chicago when you arrive. We have a lot of interesting work, and you have some interesting theories I would love to talk more about over dinner. I would talk your ear off now about them, but I'll save myself until you're here.
Enjoy your breakfast, sir.
Enjoy your journey. I look forward to meeting you in person, Mr. Pandey.
And Dr. Wilkinson hangs up the phone.
Sunil is like, okay, this isn't his first time on a train. He's been on transcontinental trains before. He's had to do a lot of traveling. From Cambridge to New York, from New York to LA, just God. So he's triple checking because he has forgotten things before.
Yes.
And it's...
You know what? Just for the heck of it, just so we can get another roll in here, it's been a while. Give me a spot hidden check as Sunil to search for that one extra sock.
the most important role of the
The
whole
most
game.
important
The
role
most
of the
important
entire.
role.
If I can open my character sheet, please.
Gambling, no. Charming, no. Sock finding,
Yes.
absolutely.
He's got to find his sock, everybody.
He has to find his
He
sock.
has to find his sock.
He has
You
Sock
don't
mitten.
understand. He has to find his sock.
He has to find
If he
his
doesn't
sock.
find his sock, we're all gonna fucking die.
That's it.
Alex, would you like to weigh in as well?
The sock must be.
Sock
It was found!
It was found!
Yeah!
acquired. Most excellent.
Ugh.
No, yeah.
I almost lost it again.
Yes, your special pair of Argyle socks. You find them underneath the bed.
Lucky trip.
Among another additional sweep and finding some belongings that you had kept in a desk drawer that you forgot to open, you just sweep it out. Nothing that's like really that would have been like, you know, you to fuss over after if you lost it, but you get pat yourself on the back a little bit for being a little extra thorough and fully packed. You head out the door and you get a cab hailed to take you to La Grande Station. Most excellent. If you will all give me just a moment here. Okay. Outside La Grande Station is a busy Los Angeles morning. People, this is a smaller train station that caters exclusively to the Atchison, Topeka, and Santa Fe Railway. So anyone who's taking the California Limited or another couple of other their trains that pass through the region on their line comes to La Grande. So Neil, you find yourself outside La Grande. And the ticket booth, you got your tickets from the telegram you were sent. Walking up, you get them redeemed. You're kind of going through the motions here. And as that happens, we're gonna peel out a little bit. We're gonna a hired cab that pulls up outside La Grande as 4 figures step out of the cab. 1 Sybil Cordova, 1 Mason Allen, Kit Sullivan, and of course Mr. Jackson Elias. Standing up, opening the trunk, Jackson the first to help people pull out their suitcases and their luggage, get everything sorting, and on the corner of the street, pays the cabbie a heavy tip and goes, Jackson kind of claps his hand together and goes, all right, well, I'm going to go by the ticket station. I'll maybe go find out some ticket information for us. All got them covered this time. More than enough on my paycheck. And you folks just wait around here. I'll probably hail you once I got everything secured, so don't wait up for me. He, kind of like jogs off towards the little ticket station at La Grande, leaving the 3 of you just kind of in the early morning sun of Los Angeles, standing on the curbside as people move and bustle about you.
So, fun night last night, you two.
Oh yes, it was absolutely wonderful. I had a great time, met some interesting people. I almost was in a play, but then the guy left at the last second and I never got my audition. But it would have been great. You guys would have come to my play if I'd been in a play, right?
No,
Yes.
absolutely, 100%.
Great.
Which, speaking of which, Sybil,
Yes.
and Mason getting a little bit closer, kind of like taps her on the shoulder. Did you happen to find a little, and gestures his hands a little bit, like tipping like a drink in his mouth?
She immediately nods and does like the most obvious wink possible. Like,
Kit rolls his eyes.
Lucille.
Oh, you'll appreciate it when we're 3 days in.
Oh, this is outside the hotel, right?
No, outside the train station. This is not this is
Yeah.
not outside the same hotel you were at. No, that was a different hotel. No, James, on your end, as the sun got a little overhead and you were kind of parked outside, trying not to fall asleep, of course. You saw your quarry leave the Hotel Cibola, and hop in a cab with in a cab with 2 other men, and then drives off. You make a point of following and go to La Grande Station as well, where you arrive a couple minutes after parking a little bit away to watch that car pull up, them get off, them move out of sight, you pull up. You get out. You park as well and get out on the street. Crowded around. All sorts of people out today. Looking at your watch, it's 9 a.m. thereabouts. The train leaves in an hour, so you figure it's better safe than sorry to get your ticket now than later. So you walk up to the ticket booth. The ticket taker just goes, 1 ticket for the California Limited, you said?
Absolutely.
Of course, sir.
Are you looking for shared berth, single compartment, drawing room? You thinking a bit more expensive?
Single compartment if you could.
Shared or alone?
Alone.
It's $125, sir.
Hand that right over. If I have it.
How much cash do you
If I have
have?
it.
How much cash do you have on your character sheet?
That's a good question. Oh my god, that's so expensive.
Yes.
Oh. Oh my God.
Probably don't have that. Fuck.
It's
So,
Let's
did
see. Possession. $45 total is how much I can spend. Not looking for single.
so a shared single berth,
A share.
$35,
yeah.
sir.
That works.
Okay. What were you gonna say, Kristen?
nothing. I was just like, he's handsome. If Sybil sees someone is struggling, she is the sort of person. Oh no, did you need help with that?
Ooh,
It's
that's a-
okay.
I love that
It's too
actually.
late.
It's okay. Okay, it's a little too late, but
If you want to retcon it, we can retcon.
oh, I will
It's not
retcon
too
nothing.
late.
I will
Except the
retcon-
dice and the ball and the.
Yeah, that didn't happen. That was
No, you had a ball, and maybe you had some dice, just not for that
He's
game.
got a lot of shit in his pockets.
He's got a lot of shit in his
That's not
pockets. Mason's having a good
keep
time.
those dice in your pockets.
You never know when you're gonna need dice.
That's fair.
But you buy a shared bunk ticket. And yeah, and it goes, I mean, don't worry, sir, it's comfortable. You'll have a good time. Meals, of course, included with the ticket. All right, passes you a ticket, got your name on it. Eastbound to Chicago along the California Limited on the Atchison, Topeka, and Santa Fe. And
Perfect.
you wander off. Sunil, yeah, you peel up. Yeah, as I said earlier, you walk around kind of trying to find the right train, but you get directed to the platform. As for our remaining three characters, after a few minutes, Jackson comes, walking back up, holding a series of tickets as he smokes from his pipe, goes, all right, it's for Mason, here's for
Thank you.
Miss Cordova, and
Thank you.
Kit, there's your ticket as well. And mine
Thank
in
you.
my hand. All right, well, let's see, I didn't specifically arrange who's where, I just kind of bought. I got a shared compartment, and I got two shared and one single compartment. If it's all right, I was thinking that, wait, hold on, sorry, the DM just fucked up. He has a shared and no, it's two shared and a single. He goes, I figured, Miss Cordova, you would like some privacy to yourself.
I won't say no.
Yes, of course.
Thank you.
So I gave you the shared ticket. Kit, Mason, do you mind staying together, or I can also stay somewhere in your rooms as well? Otherwise, I'll take the other shared room to be with a stranger.
I don't mind at all. I'm a quiet sleeper, so it's your choice.
Oh, well, Kit, how do you feel about it?
I don't mind however it shakes out, but Kit sort of like grabs his suitcase and then reaches over to grab Sybil's suitcase and pauses before it leaves the ground. Sybil,
Yes.
this is incredibly heavy.
What is it?
Sybil.
Yes.
Kit sort of takes a breath. You really need to be careful, Sybil.
I mean, like, I have other suitcases.
That's not yet fine. All right.
It'll
Let's,
be fine. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. Shit's fine. Don't worry about it. It'll be fine.
I do gotta admit,
Okay.
gotta agree with Kit a little bit here. Even I sent half overseas, pawned off a good third of it, and the rest I've been dealing with myself. But I'm a little, you know what? If you're confident that it's gonna be okay, I will trust your sensibilities, Miss Cordova.
I'm sure it'll be fine.
Yeah.
All right. Kit like hefts the suitcase. It takes a little effort, but he's strong enough to carry it.
Thank you,
Alright.
Kit.
You're
Mason,
welcome.
very sheepishly realizing what's going on, is like, stays a little quiet because his suitcase too is a little heavy. Probably not as heavy. Probably
Mason's like,
not as heavy
I'll
as
carry
Sybil's.
mine.
Don't worry about a thing, kid. I'll take care of it myself. Thank
Sybil
you.
and Kit start moving on the train. Mason, you're a moment behind as you get your shit ready, picked up, and you're being moved. Jackson like kind of turns around, walks backwards a little bit, grins, smokes from his pipe, reaches into his jacket coat pocket, and like holds out like a small bundle of cash. He kind of like winks at you and like tucks it back into his coat pocket as well. Then continues walking off towards the train platform, where everybody, individually one by one, you begin to board California Limited, eastbound from Los Angeles, Chicago. We're gonna take a break. So,
All
we'll be back in a little bit. Stay tuned, everybody, for the continued journeys of this train disaster gang. Don't go anywhere. All right, everybody, welcome back. Thank you for waiting patiently on the break. Yes, for any of you who are watching on the intermission, music bot broke. It looked too long into the abyss, and we'll have to regain its sanity next time, but we'll get it all good. Welcome. All right, you guys ready to keep this train moving? Pun intended.
I love this train.
Yes.
Let's
The
go.
California Limited. I'm going to give you a little train lore here. Also, Train Lore is the name of my ska band.
That one wasn't even good.
It wasn't. My ska band names are far superior to yours.
They are.
It's
Vastly.
true.
You guys wouldn't know this, obviously, because it's not in public, but, like, whenever Atlas and I are playing Hollow Knight, we come up with the best ska band names.
And by the best, it's just Xander has the worst ska band names ever.
They're so good.
Ever.
They're so good.
They're
No,
never
they're
good.
bad. I've
Like,
heard so
like,
many ska
like,
bands.
Mantis,
They're
like
all
Mantis
bad.
Hole.
It's the worst.
The worst.
Terrible.
What was a couple of the last ones that we had?
Let's hear.
Just to throw them out.
Because we were talking about how my beard was like really fucking weird. And
That one was mine. It was Bottom and
Yeah.
Chops, and
That's
that's a
good.
good
Chops
one.
and
Oh,
bottom.
That's a
Yeah.
good top band name.
It was a really good one.
That's why Atlas wins.
I've been
That's why I
embarrassed.
was wins.
We can talk more about this in the post.
We will.
Disaster gang.
Train lore.
Yes.
Train
Train
lore.
lore.
Train
It's
lore.
train lore time, y'all. No, let me tell y'all a little bit about the California Limited. This is a luxury express train that runs between Los Angeles and Chicago, makes a few stops across the Southwest and into the Midwest. Overall, the journey takes about like 2.5 days or so. It's got, got some cars on it. Each car, I mean, you guys don't know this yet, because you're not in the train, but I'll give you a bit like an overview of like what's in here. Obviously, it's rocking a relatively newer engine number 4 of the Atchison, Topeka, and Santa Fe Railway. There is a crew baggage car, of course, as well as a twin unit dining car. One car that's a kitchen, one car that's the actual like seating and restaurant. It's got 1 second, checking my notes here. It's got a club and parlor car. It's got 3 sleeper cars in it, and the back of the club car also doubles as an observation platform. So you get to see the sights of the Southwest Desert as it passes behind you as you travel en route to your destination. But this is definitely along the pricier side of things, so it's pretty nice. I don't know why the chat's saying scam the scat man, but I'm moving on from that anyway. I don't know. It just caught my eye, and I am traumatized. Anyway, so let's start with. I'm gonna think. Yeah, let's start with Mr. Panday. So Neil, we'll have you as you board the train first. The people around the train moving about, kind of navigating your way to find your shared compartment and berth. Brushing shoulders with people, you kind of bump into a couple of others until you eventually find your compartment. This is a very standard train sleeper compartment. It's got currently it looks now like 2 it's closed off. It's its own little small room. It's got its 2 like couches. However, they can be turned into little sleeping beds. They kind of actually fit one above the other once they're put into place. But yeah, it's very comfortable. There's a little bathroom at the end of the hallway for you to freshen up with. And a little luggage rack in your room as well. Any heavier baggage was, of course, taken to the baggage car. But did you bring any like carry-on with you, kind of, to keep in your chamber with you?
He brought a carry-on suitcase that has like reading material of different types in it, mostly, and just things that one would typically need on this kind of journey. And he puts it up in the in where that would go. Yes.
Yeah, you can, aside from the people who are kind of moving into the train looking for their compartments as well, you hear the heavy, more fast-paced footsteps of the conductor, who comes like walking by very quickly, stops, doubles back, comes to your room for a second, and says, "Can I see a ticket for a moment?"
Sunil produces his ticket.
Kind of takes a look at it. Conductor is wearing the standard conductor's uniform and cap of a member of the AT&SF Railway. African-American gentleman, probably in his like mid-30s. Looks over their ticket and goes, "I'm sorry, no, could you mind moving down to number 5? There's been a mix-up and I just have to restore the cabins. I'll take your luggage for you if you don't mind." Yeah, he picks up the suitcase for you and just like gestures for you out the way. Yeah. Walks you down the hallway and says, "So sorry about the mix-up. Here you go." Slips your luggage on the rack for you and says, "Sorry about the mix-up. Enjoy the ride. I'll be collecting tickets when the train starts moving." And the conductor dips out. Back outside, James, you are watching from afar as you see a group of 3 gentlemen moving out of the platform, getting ready to get on the train. At the head of them is a gentleman in his... See, I have to resist the urge to describe these guys as humans because of my D&D-centric lifestyle. I'm always like, yes, a human man... Nope, they're all humans. Never mind.
Just guys
Unless
being
they're
dudes,
not.
yeah.
Just guys being dudes. Just guys being... No,
Yeah, just a bunch of guys, just a bunch
guy
of
in
dudes.
his like
you know.
mid-30s maybe, definitely of some Italian descent in him, slicked back, greased black hair, in a fine pinstripe suit, smoking a cigarette, and next to him is a more Weasley looking thinner guy, spectacles on the bridge of his nose, holding like a bunch of suitcases, and looking like overburdened. The guy next to him is actually walking like a good couple feet behind those two, just dressed in a pretty like simple, like, blazer and shirt, got like a hat around, beefier fellow, got some muscle to him. You can see that he is not engaging with these two, and you're not sure if they are... You would be unsure if they were part of the same group if you hadn't seen all 3 of these men leave the same hotel and get into the same car before heading to La Grande. But the man ahead of him, like, is he's kind of like walking by, brusques your shoulder a little bit. The guy at the front says, "Hey buddy, watch where you're fucking going." And then just keeps moving down the platform and says, "Now I told you that we're gonna get in my cabin." Just begins to like berate this like weaselly thin guy a little bit as he just like pops a cigarette out of his mouth, drops it to the ground, and crushes it under his heel. Hops on board the train.
The picture that was most clear of my target, it was him with a group of folks, right?
Yeah, none of them are part of that little group that just walked past you. You get the idea that in that photograph it was some other mobster members of maybe the Chicago outfit or whatever other family connections he has. But the guy who just passed you is undoubtedly Vito Castiglione. Which, not to call out, but Kristen typed out that was a great name, and I take immense pride in that.
It's a fucking name.
It is a good name.
Thank you. Vito Castiglione. Remember the fucking name, you piece of shit. Anyway, I
won't.
Do you board the train?
I do.
When you board the train, you heading for your room first to see where you're staying?
Yeah.
Great.
Oh, actually, no. None of the men are like facing toward me. None of them are really paying attention to me, right?
No, in fact, they're heading to get onto the train.
Okay. I'm gonna trail them. Keeping a good distance to where they don't really pay too much attention to me. But I'm gonna trail them.
Trail them. How far back do you trail?
I'd say A decent enough distance to where it would look like I was trying to cautiously make it to my cabin, whilst also fearful of them because, bump my shoulder.
Totally. Why don't then you have this be a stealth roll?
Oh boy, that's unfortunate.
Oh,
What happens when you tell the keeper to do things that you're not necessarily the best at?
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Now, how much did you fail by there? 55 versus 20. So unless you want to spend 35 luck points right out of the get-go.
No, not right now.
Not right now. For sure. Do you want to try and push the roll? For those of you unfamiliar with the rules of Call of Cthulhu, is if you fail check, you can push a roll by, you have to kind of like narratively justify and explain how that would be, like how you're kind of putting yourself a little bit more in the way of danger to, you get a re-roll on this. If you fail, the consequences are a little bit more dire than usual.
No.
Okay. Excellent. Cool. You start moving behind. You get actually kind of like held up, and as you're in the train into like a little bit of choke point of passengers, and you kind of get a little too close to your quarry. The guy, Vito, fucking like turns around and looks at you in the middle of the conversation, goes, "Oh, I'm sorry, bud. Did I not finish fucking talking to you? Something else I can help you with there?"
James immediately just hand over his face. No. Sorry.
Oscar, get this guy the fuck out of my sight. Like gestured at you with his cigarette.
I'm just trying to get to my cabin. I'm sorry.
Okay, your fucking cabin? Well, you can wait a goddamn minute while I figure out my fucking accommodations. You hear me? Look at me.
Right
I'm talking to you.
I
Hey,
apologize.
He like gets like right up in your face. You can smell the cigarette in his mouth. Hey, buddy, don't fuck with me. You hear me?
I ain't fucking with anybody.
do we hear this?
You're not on the
quarrel
train
going
yet.
on?
You're not on the train yet.
Okay,
Not on the
not on the train
Not
yet.
on the train
Cool.
yet.
Just
Yeah.
I ain't fucking with anybody. I'm just trying to get to Albuquerque. I'm just trying to go.
Yeah. He kind of like reaches out to you and like begins to like mess around with your like jacket a little bit, just like kind of like kind of like trim around the edges of it, and goes, "Albuquerque, yeah? All right. Well, I hope you have a safe and uneventful journey there. What's your name?"
James.
Kind of like studies you for a very long moment. Then busts out laughing. Goes, "Look at this fucking guy. He thinks I'm fucking serious. Get a fucking load of this guy." He kind of like gives you like a light shove and goes, "Buddy, fuck off. God, fucking gullible." And he turns and walks back down the hallway and goes, "Fucking Audie, get my goddamn suitcase off the floor!" And the guy, the weasel-like guy goes, "So sorry, boss." Picks up the suitcase and just begins to move down the hallway. Glancing down at your ticket, you can actually see that coincidentally you're actually pretty close to your compartment as well.
Good.
Do you go to your compartment?
Yeah.
You go into your compartment. Sunil, your bunkmate enters the room.
Hello. So Neil is like in the mirror, like giving himself like a talk.
Oh, please go ahead. Go ahead. I will enter when it's time.
No. You've entered. It is not.
Say your fucking talk, I swear to God.
How could you, if you're gonna tease us with this?
All right, you've done this before. You're ready to prove yourself. It's been a while, but the travel from LA to Chicago is not a big deal. You've gone so many different places, Sunil. You're just doing what Paul would have wanted. All right, we're good. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Was I interrupting?
No, not at all. Hello. I'm guessing you're my cabin mate.
It would seem to be the case if this is yours.
Well,
Hopefully we don't have too many others following along with us.
oh. Okay.
train wise, cabin wise, compartment, passenger wise. Hopefully we don't, have anybody else having to join us.
Well, it seems to be built for two, so I hope the same.
James O'Connell, nice to meet you.
Sunil Pandey, nice to meet you.
All right. Well, don't mind me. I'm just traveling along. And anything he would have brought with him, he's going to kind of not going to unpack anything, but just kind of keep everything in like a spot,
God.
Totally.
Sunil sits like clean, just like straightening his tie from having been in the bathroom. He's good now.
Absolute. Great. As you two get situated, we're gonna cut away to our remaining players. Jackson walking with you guys to the train. Says, okay, Miss Cordova, I think that your cabin and my cabin are on that car, and you two got a one at close to the back, so you guys will be close to the lounge. That's pretty nice. Once I get settled and help Miss Cordova unpack as well, I'll come see you if you guys need any help, and we can maybe enjoy the first stage of the journey in the club.
That
I would like breakfast.
Lovely.
You didn't get breakfast before you came here? They don't have it on the train.
They woke up too late.
That's fair. Well, Miss Cordova, I'm told that the California Limited has the best Fred Harvey meals on the rails, so, maybe we'll be able to find something for you. Come on, let's go. And
Excellent.
Jackson kind of like offers you his arm a little bit and like saunters
Oh,
off.
Jackson, you might want to take her case.
Yeah, sure thing. Oh, jeez. He immediately lifts it in he does not anticipate how heavy it is. And he goes, gonna pull my arm out of its socket, Miss Cordova. All right, let me just...
Sybil immediately just smacks him. You got this, you big strong man. Let's go.
Thank you very much, Miss Cordova. I'm just gonna... Oh, boy. And Jackson kind of stumbles around a little bit from the weight discrepancy as he follows you after towards the car, leaving Mason, Kit, you two to get on your car as well.
Feels nice to be back in the U.S.
Yeah, no, having English be the majority language is definitely a plus.
It also feels nice to see familiar landmarks. I was getting kind of tired of that.
Yeah, you've been out west before, Mason.
I've seen postcards, but other than that, I've never seen LA before.
Familiar enough then. You are headed to New York, right?
Yeah, I gotta go back to Manhattan. Well, I mean, I mean, shit, who knows? And Mason holds up the briefcase. Well, what we gathered, I actually may not have to go back to there.
Kit raises his one eyebrow that still works under his command. You too, huh?
And then Mason shakes it a little bit, and you hear a lot of jingling, which is very, very jingly. I like them because they're shiny. I'll pawn them off whenever.
Mr. Allen, do you have a bank account?
I actually don't. I was never taught how to make one. The place that I worked at, they never had us.
When we get to Chicago, we'll swing by and I'll help you open a bank account.
That would be lovely. It's very nerve-wracking to hold on to all of this loose change.
Yeah, just keep it on the down low. And I'll be heading off to New York too, so if you need any help or something. Kit
That
just
would
sort
be
of
lovely.
studies your face. I know Peru
Everything
took a lot
okay?
out of you.
I try not to think about it too much, but having a few days where you don't have to focus on it, and being back here, it helps.
Yeah. Well, If it helps, continue to not think about it. Doctor's orders.
Roger that, Doctor. Hey, come on, let's go check out our spot.
Yeah.
Kid, as you're stepping onto the train, another individual suddenly is coming around the corner trail and bumps hard into you, and he causes you to drop your bags. And you hear, this guy goes,
I'm so terribly sorry.
looking up, there is a gentleman just kind of clad in a pretty cheap, well-worn suit. But his face is very uncanny valley for you, as you realize that the majority of his face is actually composed of flesh-colored prosthetic plates that are sculpted to look like a normal face, mostly covering everything from the nose down, curving under both eyes, these so that those are still intact. And there are these fake spectacles that sit on the bridge of this fake plaster nose. But it's a little, and there's a mustache, fake mustache that's been established over it. You've seen a fair few of these kinds of before. But the voice that comes from behind the mask is very
I'm so terribly sorry.
No,
It was
you're fine.
my fault. No, allow me to get those bags for you, sir.
No, it's...
It was, no, I should have seen where I was going. Let me...
And he reaches down and picks them up, hefts them for you, and goes,
Might I help take these to your cabin for you?
No,
It's the least,
no,
it's the least I could do, sir.
Kit sort of nods. That would be appreciated then. What's your name, sir?
My name is Bertram Peck, and you might be...
Kit Sullivan.
A pleasure to make your acquaintance, Mr. Sullivan, and your compatriot as well. My apologies. I hope I did not stumble into you as well.
Oh, no, it's not a problem at all. Hi, I'm Mason Allen. And just with a very warm smile, kind of extends his hand a little bit to just shake his.
Yeah, he has to set one of the bags down because you realize his left hand is he's holding it really stiff and close to his upper body. And he doesn't make any motions with it at all. He sets the bag down to shake your hand as well.
The pleasure is all mine, Mr. Allen. Would you terribly mind? I can only hold one bag at a time. If you could grab that one, I would appreciate it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Here, allow me. And Mason will, of course, grab the bag, along with his, just kind of keeping it close to his side.
The pleasure is ours, Bertram. Thank you.
It is nice to meet people who understand that accidents happen. Please, might I know which cabins you are occupying?
Yeah. Kit sort of glances at his ticket. Just that way towards the lounge car.
Oh, yes, of course. Please.
He begins to walk around.
I'm just a passenger on this train, but again, I offer my sincerest condolences for the imposition I have put you in.
No. Bertram, it's fine. And Kit sort of tilts his face a little bit to show off the right side. It's fine. Listen, I spent a good amount of time in Sid Cup. You're all right, Bertram.
And he glances down, adjusts his hat over his head a little bit more, picks up the suitcase again, quietly nods and walks down all the way till he comes upon your rooms, goes,
These are your, this is your compartment then?
I believe
so.
Well, I am on the other side of the train, but it was very nice to meet you. I take it as well, Mr. Sullivan, if you do not mind me asking, you are also one who served in the Great War?
Yes, sir. First Lieutenant, 165th Infantry.
Lance Corporal Bertram Peck of the 2nd Division of the British Infantry. It is a pleasure to meet a fellow veteran.
The pleasure is all mine, Lance Corporal. Here, let me help you with that bag, Mason.
Oh, for sure.
And Kit will escort Bertram to his cabin
Ah.
and help with the bag.
Oh, thank you very kindly. I appreciate the aid. Well, thank you. I shan't bother you any longer than I have already.
Not a bother at all. And if you ever want to stop by, you know where the cabin is.
And if you ever see me in the club or dining car, feel free to say hello or sit down for perhaps some conversation.
Sounds good, Bertram.
The fellow nods, and lowers his head, and steps back out in the hallway. From after you help him into his compartment, and seems to like head down to like dining car.
Right. Kit sort of looks off into the middle distance a bit, but heads back to the compartment that he's sharing with Mason.
Absolutely. Sybil and Jackson are led. You guys find Jackson helps you find your compartment room, paid for just for you. So you get the little couch and bed to yourself once it's set up. He goes, "Oh, this is pretty nice. I have to consider maybe killing for you, killing you for it. I'm tired."
Oh, that's adorable that you think you could.
You know me all too well, Miss Cordova.
Oh, Jackson.
All right, well, let me help you with the bags here. I think I'm gonna mostly relegate myself to my chamber until lunch in the dining car. I just want to take a moment to relax and decompress, but we made it all the way here so far.
We did.
All right, well, I'll be in the dining car if you need me. Let's all enjoy a nice meal together later. I want to actually talk about something that isn't related at all to Peru and just talk about us as people and what we're going to do next with our... Well, you know what I'm referring to, of course. Well,
Of course. I think next we'll talk about werewolves.
That's a very
But yes,
idea.
by all means, I'll talk to you later.
I'll tell you about some more of my books, but all right. And he dips his head out of your room and goes down. You shut the room. You shut the door to your room. You're in your private little compartment bunk. And look out the window. You see La Grande Station behind. The train is not yet taken off, but it's pretty close. That's when you hear the conductor's voice yelling, "Last call! All aboard the California Limited, bound for Chicago! Next stop, Barstow, California!" And after a minute or two, the clock hits 10 a.m., you hear the train whistle blow, and the California Limited begins to pull out from La Grande Station along the Atchison, Topeka, and Santa Fe Railway. Let's get some train ambiance in here, shall we?
Train ambiance.
noises.
Train ambiance.
Train noises.
Chugga, chugga, chugga.
Motherfucker!
Excellent. And everybody is now on board the train. We made it, everybody. Excellent. So when the train takes off, everybody, like, what is everyone up to? Are you just kind of hanging in your cabins? What's going on? Just like tell me what you guys got going on.
Mason. Oh, go ahead.
I know Sybil would immediately go for the lounge or something. Just wherever people are, that's where she wants to go. Like,
Same wavelength. I'm actually gonna have Mason stop by Sybil's car to invite her to the lounge with him to check it out.
Mhm. Sybil like puts her stuff away and like goes to open the door, and Mason's like right there. Oh,
Hi.
hi.
Do you wanna check out the lounge?
Oh,
car?
absolutely. She
quite
immediately
seeing it.
grabs his arm. Let's go.
Absolutely. And these two very quickly walking down, very excited to just go and check out this lounge.
We gotta.
As
We
you guys
gotta.
go to the lounge, Kit, Sunil, James, what's going on with y'all?
See, on my end, you're pointing to Xander.
Yeah, same.
I'm pointing to Alice. Kit first.
Kit would probably just take a moment to take a few breaths in his cabin, but he would eventually go to the lounge car, since we had mentioned maybe meeting up there later. So probably arriving a little after Mason and Sybil would.
And Sunil and James in your shared compartment berths, after the train pulls out and you guys are kind of comforted in there. Anyone staying in there? Just socializing? What are you doing?
After everything is nice and set and, you know, his bags are just where they need to be, James stands up, smiles over at Sunil, and simply says, make sure nobody steals my shit, okay? And then he makes his way for the door, heading to the lounge.
Excellent. You're gonna hang to the lounge for sure. And Sunil, are you just hanging tight then?
Neil's gonna hang tight because he was told to make sure.
Yeah. Yep. The imposition. Absolutely. A couple minutes later, the conductor pops his head into your room and goes, "Tickets, please. Tickets."
Neil produces his ticket.
Takes your ticket, looks over it, nods, hands it back to you, and says, "Thank you, sir. Let you know, lunch will be served in the dining car around noon. Fred Harvey meals, you're welcome to eat it. And if you need anything, just holler for the conductor. That is me, Hector Barnhill. Pleasure to meet you." Holds out his hand, shakes it. All right, well, all right. Enjoy your ride, sir. Dips out and continues down the line. Cutting over to the lounge and club car. This occupies the very last car in the train. It is got a little bar, various chairs and small tables pressed off to the side. Towards the back of this car, there is a door that leads out to a small observation outdoor deck, where a couple of people are already standing by. Some people are smoking out there, just kind of like watching the city and surrounding urban landscape disappear around them as you guys kind of enter the outskirts of Los Angeles along the train ride. But yeah, Mason, you pull up in here with Sybil. You see the bar, there are various people kind of around. Obviously there's no drinks, like alcoholic drinks being served here, but they have like club sodas and they have juices, non-alcoholic standard affairs. People are smoking, some people are like reading in here. Yeah, what pulls your attention?
I think Sybil's gonna go get a drink of some sort and then just be like, I want to get a drink and I want to check out that observation deck.
Absolutely.
What do you think? Let's do it.
Absolutely. You walk over to the bar. The bartender behind it asks, "What can I get for you, my dear?"
Cranberry juice?
We have that in stock. And
Let's do that.
Points at Mason, goes, "And for you, maestro."
Ooh. What are the flavors that you have with your pops?
With pops? I mean,
Oh,
what you
not
craving?
Pops, but pop?
What you craving?
I haven't had anything fizzy with strawberry in a while.
Ooh.
Anything strawberry?
I think I can make something work for you.
Wonderful.
Mixes together just some like club soda and like a strawberry kind of syrup as well. Passes over to you.
Oh, thank you very much. How much do I owe you?
Oh, on the house.
Well, thank you.
Thank you kindly.
Yeah. Ever since
Yeah,
Prohibition,
is there?
he's like
Oh,
polishing
sorry,
glasses.
go
He goes, "Well, ever since Prohibition hit, the California Limited's occupied a policy of the first drink for each customer is free."
Oh.
Oh, that's lovely.
Yeah.
Is there a tip jar by chance? Out of character.
100% there is.
Yeah.
Okay. Mason's gonna just slap a 5 in there. Just $5 in the tip jar.
A few people like noticeably like glance over at you and like nod and goes, "Thank you very much, maestro."
Thank you very much.
Let me know whatever you need and I'll get it for you. Turn away from the bar. Yeah, you guys can like move towards the the observation deck, kind of stepping outside, feeling the wind, and you can the morning cool is now of course beginning to build into the afternoon heat as things slowly begin to pass on. But there's a few people out here just kind of like watching, leaning over the rail, just glancing at the surroundings. You can hear a couple of voices, just like in mid-conversation. One voice says, "Well, I know it was actually a very fun picture to work on. Thank you so much. I appreciate that." And these two guys were talking to this like, Sybil, how tall are you again?
I am 4'11".
Yeah, taller than you, but like that's not saying much. Like she's like 5. She's like 5'4". This is a cute, younger woman, probably in her like mid to late 20s. So they're kind of got like a bit of a rounder, cute face and like curling tresses of hair. There's something low-key familiar about her, but you can't exactly place it. But she kind of is conversing with these two men, like, and just has got a little bit of like a grinning blush on her face. But you know, eventually they kind of like pass off and move away from her, and she just kind of goes back to just kind of like looking around, enjoying the scenery.
Can I roll a thing to see if I recognize her, maybe, or?
That is an excellent question. I'm gonna look at the character sheet really quickly because there's so many skills in Call of Cthulhu. They're hard to keep track of sometimes.
Like I have I have my suspicions given narrative, but for the sake of
Of course. Well, you know, I'll say. You know what? I'll have this be. This will be interesting news. I'm gonna have this be. This is so easy for you. A credit rating check.
Oh, well, I mean...
Shit.
What a surprise. No,
I can't
you
believe it.
consider yourself a very sociable person who's met many people and has seen many things because you have the money to throw around for it. Yeah, you recognize this lady's face from the pictures. This is none other than E. Mae Marsh.
Oh. Wow.
A very out of character, a very famous silent film actress of the era. So she's been in a lot of films. Her most famous is a terrible movie that has not aged well in the slightest, and we're not gonna mention it by name. But she is, from all accounts, she's a very good actress and a nice person.
I learned about the movie from my film class, and I learned about the director. Oh boy!
Someone PM me. Someone PM me.
Someone.
I got
I'll tell you about it in a little bit. Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
So Sybil is, of course, quite interested, and it's like, Miss Marsh? She asks curiously.
She turns around. She goes, "Yes."
Oh, hello there. I've seen your pictures. I absolutely adore your work. My name is Sybil Cordova. Offers a hand.
She like beams at you and like she holds out her hand and shakes yours as well. And she goes, "Well, that's mighty kind of you. Thank you so much. I'm always happy to meet fans. I must admit, I am a little dumbfounded that so many people recognize my face from the pictures. But it is so lovely to meet you. You said your name was Sybil?
Sybil Cordova.
And this strapping gentleman you travel in the company with?
Oh, this is Mason Allen.
Mr.
Nice
Allen?
to meet you. Just really working up the charm there, just
just
brandishing that smile, just nice to meet you. Name Marsh?
She smiles and nods.
It's a lovely name.
Thank you very much. It was given to me by my parents. She kind of like blushes. She seems to be a little in the throes of like this is often for her, and she definitely enjoys it, but it's still, you know, she's very down to earth and honest about it. Well, I mean, if you're looking forward to my own pictures, and I have to again thank you so much. I got another one coming out this year. If you're interested in maybe going to see it, look for the title. It's called Nobody's Kid. I play a woman called Mary Carey. Don't tell anyone I told you that though, miss. That gives like a little discreet hush at you, Sybil, and like a little sly, cute grin. And she says, "Well, what brings you folks on board the California Limited?"
Oh, just heading home. You know, we went on a grand adventure, and it seems like a good way to get back in style.
Nods. And your strapping companion there?
Oh.
Also heading up to Chicago. I'm gonna be flying out to New York once I get there. And Mason,
By flying out, you mean taking another train to New York, I assume?
by flying out, I mean taking another train.
Because air travel in America is not commercial yet.
That didn't happen. Let me rephrase. I am gonna
Desert
be in
heat, it's
Chicago,
getting to
then we're gonna be zipping on over to New York from there.
Oh, New York? That's
gonna be
very nice. I've never been brave enough to perform in New York. Maybe one day. I'm on my way to Chicago, of course, to visit some friends of mine out there. I also enjoy riding the rails. I was actually born out in New Mexico, and the train passes not too far from where I grew up. Any of you either of you ever hear of the town of well, technically it's spelled Madrid, but all the locals pronounce it as Madrid. Small place, mining town. Don't suppose anyone's heard of it. I just like passing through the region and always just seeing the desert and seeing the sights just makes me feel comfortable. Like reminds me of being at home. That's right, Mr. Allen. That's very insightful of you. Usually my husband accompanies me on these trips up to Chicago, but unfortunately we've had our hands a little full with the children as of lately, and he's just had to stay behind. He works at the studios, you see, so he's pretty busy almost all the time, but, you know, we get to spend some good time. Well, it was a delight meeting the two of you. If we ever find ourselves in conversation again, I'd love to talk about whatever it is that interests you two.
Of course.
But if you
That'll
don't
be
mind...
lovely. I hope you have
No,
safe
go ahead,
travels.
go ahead.
Thank you. Don't mind. I'm gonna head back inside. Thank you again for being fans. She smiles, nods, and walks back in. Yeah, and Kit, you enter into the lounge as well. Kind of see all these people around, and you're used to it. But you know, it's several people like cast glances and double takes at you as you walk around.
Yeah, Kit sort of squares his shoulders, and mostly he's just looking to get at least eyes on Mason and Sybil. He's been trying to keep it a little low key, but he's kind of worried about those two.
What? Why? We're very responsible adults. We are technically
Right.
adults.
Two of the most responsible people you will ever meet in your entire life. Come on.
Indeed.
Be honest with
Absolutely.
yourself.
How about, you know what? How about, this might be a little extreme, but give me a spot hidden check.
Sure, give me a moment. Gotta find it amidst all these skills.
So many skills on this thing.
There's a lot of
Still
skills.
getting used to how money works. and-
Critical failure.
Okay, give me a second.
Same, huh?
Sorry, what?
Now make a sanity check. No, I'm kidding. No. No. Critical failure is always fun to deal with, so I just need a moment to collect my thoughts on what a critical failure looks like on a spot hidden check. You are... Yeah, no. So I'll say that as you are... Yeah, it's a critical fumble. Yeah, I gotta go with the rules. As you are trying to find... Mason, like spot Mason and Sybil around these people, around this crowd. There's a lot of people in a pretty claustrophobic train car. All things considered, it's spacious and it's nice, but the walls kind of, all these people like looking at you, side-eyeing you, and you can feel like the mood in the room drop a little bit as your attention is diverted to just being able to notice every single person who's looking at you in here. It starts to feel a little heavy. Can you get a sanity roll from you, actually?
Okay, wow, sure.
Sure.
Yeah, our first sanity roll of the game.
I need some air. Fuck.
Oh.
Yeah, you take a point of sanity damage as just this kind of becomes overwhelmingly weighing down. This like little bit of a panic attack begins to step in. Are you just moving quickly for the door?
Yeah. Either for the door to a different car or anywhere. I don't know if is the observation deck like an outside area.
Yeah, it's outside. It
Yeah.
is, yeah.
He probably would head to the outside area
Great,
so that it's
yeah.
not a narrow,
You kind
cramped
of like
space.
begin to move down through the length of the lounge car, picking up speed, and it's kind of like something coming, trying moving through, weaving through the people in here. You just feel a million eyes bearing down on you. You throw open the door to the outside. You kind of like stumble outside, brace yourself on like a nearby support beam, and begin to take some heavy, deep breaths. As for you two, you see Kit stumble out, looking a little wistful.
Kit, okay?
Yeah, no, I was.
Oh.
Kit sort of has a bit of a coughing fit. No, I'm fine. No, I was just looking for you two. Yeah.
You didn't. What, you get in a scuffle in there or something? What's going on?
No,
You all right?
a scuffle on the California Limited. Come on, people
Yeah.
have too much money for scuffles. Nah, just little narrow in there. That's all.
Sybil
For sure.
pats Kit on the arm, like, it's okay.
You feel like a very slight like flinch as you do so, but just a little one. So yeah, how are you two finding the journey?
Well, we met Mae Marsh, so that was pretty cool.
Oh,
It's on the train.
wow. All right. I mean, I'm not one for pictures, but everyone knows about Mae Marsh.
She's really
Oh,
nice.
of course.
Really? That's good to hear. What does
Yeah.
she sound like?
I don't know how to really. She had a bit of a drawl.
A drawl.
She kind of sounds like how she looks, to
Yeah.
say the least. Very, very kind, sweet face, you know.
That makes sense. I mean, you know, silent pictures and all, you can't help but wonder. Well,
do you wanna drink or anything?
Yeah, we can go in and get you one.
Oh no. Kid sort of pauses. Actually, no. Yeah, that'd be nice. Club soda with water or something. I just wanted to make sure. Thank you.
Okay,
Do you,
I'll go get
any
you something.
preferences?
Yeah.
Like
No,
flavors or anything?
no preferences. Just
Alrighty, not a problem. Sybil, after you.
Yeah. I will go.
Great, you guys in the car. We're gonna cut away. James, you enter the lounge car. You kind of like find your way over to the bar, just out of a social habit. What do you order from the bar?
Root beer.
Coming right up. Up to you. There's a gentleman sitting at the bar next to you, kind of like looks over, flashes you a very pearly white smile. Very suave gentleman, tanner skin, pencil mustache, black well-groomed hair, and kind of like a blue suit. This guy definitely looks like he's got some money about him, and he kind of like looks over you and he says, "I have to admit, I have never yet tried a root beer in this country, but I've heard excellent things about it."
Doesn't really beat the real thing, but
Oh, I would imagine. I have to say, and I don't mean any offense when I tell you this, it have a jaw like a diamond cutter. Just letting you know, it is a very strong face that is marks you as a man of capable talent, one who has seen a lot of action, one might say.
that is a way to put it, I suppose.
He chuckles. Like spins around in his bar, so like kind of offers his hand to you and goes, "Salvador Suarez. You can call me Sal. Most people do."
James McConnell.
Fishes, yeah, she shakes his hand. He fishes around in like in a coat pocket and like hands you like a little business card. On it says Coronado Mining Company, Lyons, Kansas. And goes,
What brings you on to the California Limited, if you do not mind my inquiring, sir?
Just work.
And what kind of work would you happen to be engaged in?
Depends on who asks.
That is very fair.
well, he kind of like raises his glass to you as well.
And as I hope you have a fine and safe journey, Mr. You said your name was O'Connell?
Yes, sir. Same to you.
It goes back to just drinking. So Neil,
After
oh yeah, go ahead. No, you go ahead.
I'm gonna say after a minute of drinking soda, James is probably gonna make his way out to have a smoke.
Absolutely, you go have a smoke. So Neil, up by your cabin, you're kind of minding your own beeswax. When a gentleman kind of like pokes his head into your room, you don't recognize him, and he goes, "I'm so sorry. You didn't seem to happen to see any a very rambunctious, spunky-looking young woman, flapper dress, move by here, or also anyone matching that description? Sorry, I'm just having a little trouble finding my friends here. Getting a little disoriented is all."
Oh, I can't recall that I did. I'm sorry.
All right. Do you think the lounge car's in the back? I actually didn't get a good read on where it was.
I believe so.
Ah, all right. Ah, damn. Kind of like walks past your door, then like 3 seconds later, like backtracks and looks in and goes, "Not to intrude. Do you happen to be waiting for someone? You look like you're just kind of staring at the wall."
Listen, I was told by a very tall man to make sure no one stole his things. And I am... You know what? Why am I here? What? I'm an adult. I don't need to watch his things. I don't even know this man. You know, but there is like a silent pact when it comes to someone watching your back. Even still, I apologize for my outfit.
He gives
may
this
I
big,
ask your
deep,
name?
hearty laugh and goes, "You, Jackson Elias, you are definitely of a different sort altogether. Pleasure to meet you. What's your name, sir?"
Sunil Pandey.
Sunil Pandey. I'll tell you what. Do you work for this man at all?
You know, I don't.
Then well, then why don't we go down to the lounge together, find him, and we can all share a good laugh over this.
Right now.
Oh, come on. Yeah. Great. Yeah, everyone, you can move around. And then eventually, after a couple hours just hanging around the train, lunch happens. Lunch happens over in the dining car. The best, as it is actually branded on the menus, the best Fred Harvey meals on the rails. Fred Harvey, of course, being both a businessman and a chain of railway side restaurants across America. But various lunch foods available. Table orientation. Let's say that let's just figure out Sunil, Mason, Kit, Sybil. Are you guys sitting together, moving around?
Oh, absolutely. I'm sitting together with them as much as they'll, as long as they're cool with it.
Oh, I'm absolutely.
Yeah.
Jackson actually joins you for Sunil lunch if you're okay with that. Do you grab a table together? Sure. James, are you kind of off on your own? Are you joining another group? What are you leaning around toward? By the way, you would see, by the way, that Vito and his Weasley assistant Artie are kind of in their own booth, kind of like towards the back, and that very like buff-looking gentleman who's been kind of like you would gather his muscle is 3 booths farther down and across the aisle from him, looking like he's just by himself, but is like notably like just keeping an eye over on Vito's booth. And then there are other various sorts of people all engaged in different conversation topics, various interesting looking people. Where does James sit? Does he go for something alone or latches on to another group?
You know what? He's going to latch on the nearest group that seems open to guests. Stay at the bar, anywhere.
Absolutely. That's you know what, this is a great moment of where the DM is gonna is gonna determine by a random die roll behind the screen, invisible to everyone else. Something real quick. All right. Yep, you latch on to the group of Sybil, Mason, and Kit.
Howdy.
You walk up to their table.
Excuse me, everybody. Is this seat taken?
Oh, not at all. Please go ahead.
Well, thank you very much.
You pull in, yeah, and over at Sunil, and pulling across from Jackson, he's just kind of like looking off as well. This other figure pops up. This man with the prosthetic face walks up and goes,
"Would you mind if I sat here?"
No, mind you don't.
Jackson goes, "Oh no, by all means, friend. Please join in. Plenty of room to spare." James, from your position, you can see that like Vito like looks down the fucking aisle and then goes, looks at Artie and goes, "Who let the fucking gimp on this train?" Oh, fucking
Does
poof.
Mason
Of course he does.
Oh, of course he does.
You see Kit kind of stiffen, but then realize that it's actually not him that's being talked about, and slowly turns to look back.
And so Mason looks back and sees the older man. The older man is sitting with Sunil and
Yeah. Sunil
Oh my God,
and Jackson.
Jackson. I kept wanting to say James. It's like, no, James is sitting right next to me. That's but yeah, so Mason will get up to go sit with Jackson, Sunil, and the older man. It's like, hey guys, I'll just be right back. Don't worry about it.
All right.
Mason, be careful.
Oh no, he's not gonna cause any trouble or anything. He was gonna go. Wait, are they all sitting in the same section?
Well, who are you? So
I was gonna go over to sit next to Sunil.
Oh, sorry, I misunderstood.
Jackson
Yeah,
and
no.
the
You
older
guys are kind of like your tables are like spaced a little farther away. But you wander over to Jackson and Sunil's booth.
Hey, do you guys mind if I sit down here?
By all means, go ahead, Mason. Oh, Mason, this is Mr. Sunil Pandey. Met him on the train. Mr. Pandey, this is a friend of mine, recent acquaintance. This is Mason Allen.
Nice
Hi,
to meet
nice
you,
to
Mason.
meet you. Oh, excuse me. Sorry. Hi, you from England?
From Cambridge.
Cambridge, huh? What are you doing in the good old U.S.?
Well, I am actually researching into the medical field, and I am leaving from LA to go to Chicago to learn some more.
Oh, that's lovely. Hey, we're actually going to be going up to Chicago as well. Well, I'm going to be taking a train over to New York, but that's wonderful. Where'd you said you were heading to after Chicago?
Oh, I'm just heading to Chicago.
Oh, just to oh, that's wonderful. How long have you been studying medicine for?
Well, the past 8 years.
Jackson looks over. You're involved in the medicine field. Sorry, I didn't ask about that earlier. What is
Yes.
a particular line of study, if any? You don't mind my inquiring?
I currently deal in pharmaceuticals. That's
Oh.
so it's more of a how do I put this? The chemistry of all of it, and also just the understanding of the human body together, they become one understanding. Yes.
Very interesting line of work. Wouldn't know a lot
You
about
said
myself.
You said you were studying that for 8 years?
Yeah.
Well, I have a
medicine
master's.
school. Medicine school, Mason.
Medicine school. I mean, I started medicine school a little bit, but I don't really know a whole lot with it. But 8 years, and Mason's trying to gauge your age.
Great.
Neil,
Excellent.
having gone through this multiple times, he's not. He's just kind of like, yes.
Did you start like early? How long ago did you start?
It's a little early, but not by too much.
A little early, not by too much.
Yes, I started studying anthropology before I enlisted in the war.
Oh, marvelous.
Yes,
How long did you study anthropology for?
too short, all things considered. Not very long at all. Not something I can really go back to these times. But we move on. We're gonna cut away for a moment. We're gonna cut over around as lunch is transpiring. Y'all are having great conversation. Back over at the main table with everyone else. Since Mason's gotten up,
Good man, right there.
kind of like a more portly, graying-haired gentleman like walks up and goes, "Hey, you folks don't mind if I happen to pull a seat down here, yeah?"
No, we just had one get up.
Ah, all right. Well, just looking for something to sit around and eat some food. Nothing. Thank you. Kind of like shuffles in, just begins to eat from his plate.
What's your name?
Bill.
Bill?
Nice to meet you, ma'am. Yeah. Yeah.
Nice to meet you,
Kinda
Bill.
like very awkward. Lunch is served. People get their food. Conversations happening.
Like James is keeping an eye on Vito the whole fucking time. Anytime that like the buff guy or anything would look over to this table or in this direction, just right back down to the food.
Absolutely.
Not really making conversation.
Kit, could you be so kind for me during this, throughout just lunch and just general crowd? Could you give me a spot hidden check?
Yes, please give me a moment.
Yep.
Hey.
Hey, look at that. The table immediately across from you, there's just one guy sitting by his lonesome in there. An older gentleman, kind of got like hair, gray hair around like the sides of his head. Little briefcase down. He's just kind of like sitting there, kind of looks a little lonely to himself, but is eating. However, as you're like you clock him, what actually catches your eye is his briefcase.
You look down and there's actually a placard on the tip of his briefcase that has a logo, DWM, which I'd say since you're a veteran, you would recognize that logo as the logo of the Deutsche Waffen- und Munitionsfabriken, the German arms manufacturer.
Kit has a person to keep his eye on, I guess. I mean... Yeah, Kit's not going to say anything, and it probably isn't going to point it out to anyone else, but is definitely going to make a note of this man. I mean, not the first... Anyway, we won't go into that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So Kit's focused on this. James is really focused on Vito. And then, like, Sybil's just sitting, and then there's this other guy who's, like, really awkward, and
Bill.
Sybil's just sitting here, like, So anyway, what are you doing aboard the train?
Just going home, ma'am. I live in Chicago.
Uh-huh.
Yep. About all there is to it. So I'm a cop.
What, you're a cop? Oh, that's so exciting! What sort of things, do you do anything? Have you had any cases, or?
No, I'm just a beat cop, miss.
Oh. What's a beat cop?
I'd patrol. General patrol. Yeah, he kind of just like nods and just like being just awkwardly going back to his lunch.
Sybil pokes at her food for a bit and then is like, turns to James. And what's your name, mister?
Oh, James O'Connell. Nice to meet you, young lady.
Nice to meet you. She shakes his hand and then she's like, oh, he has nice hands.
Firm grip.
Amazing. Yeah, as lunch continues to go on, you know, things kind of pass by, relatively peaceful conversation, but then things kind of like thin out towards like once people finish their plate. So the dining car begins to like, people begin to resume either going back to their compartments or back to other parts of the train, leaving these kind of like smaller pockets of people still hanging around. At one point, the tables kind of like begin to shuffle around a little bit, just as the groups reconnect. James, you find yourself kind of just a little separated again from the group, when Vito goes, "Hey, buddy, who can't mind his fucking business, get over here."
Fucking like pointing at him.
He's pointing directly at you.
God damn it.
God
damn it. Was trying his best to fucking keep his way down.
He seems really mean. Are you sure you want to? Okay.
I think y'all are gone by this point.
Yeah,
I thought we were still. Oh, okay.
yeah, no, it's more of this a general shuffle around of activity as people kind of motion about. Vito gestures you over, got a pretty serious look on his face.
Fucking James just kind of like looks around and points at himself. Just
you with the fucking fingers at yourself over here now.
All right. And he gets up, grabs his tray, brings it along with him, makes his way over.
This guy with the fucking $1 million goddamn smile over here. You play poker?
Me?
Yeah, you. Talking to you.
I might.
Want to fucking get in on this? I don't want to pay with this asshole. Not just with him, at least. Got no poker face.
You know, fair enough. And he sits down,
slap with poker. As James peels off, the groups have kind of more shuffled together. So the two tables of James, Jackson, Sunil, Bertram, and Kit and Sybil are more kind of like closer together. So you guys are kind of like pocketing up. The gentleman Bill fully wandered out of conversation as soon as his lunch was done. So it's just you guys kind of hanging around as well. Jackson kind of like leans in and goes, "I gotta say, it's pretty early, but I think I'm gonna go to the bar cart at some point and maybe start chatting up some conversation with these strangers. Welcome to join. I'd love to get to know Bertram, Sunil, and get to know you a little bit more if you want to join me over in that regard."
I'm independent, and I can do what I want. Yes.
What?
What?
Kit, Sybil,
You know
what
what?
about yourself?
Sounds like a great idea. How about let's do that, huh?
Sybil's like just staring at Sunil like she's so intrigued. She's like, absolutely, I want to know what's going on with this kid.
Jackson gives you, Mason, Kit, and Sybil a very look of like, oh, we're gonna have a great time on this train. Let's go. Mr. Peck, would you want to come with us to the back train as well? Bertram like looks at all of you and goes,
If this is all the same to you, I think I'm going to return to my cabin. I would like to spend some time alone.
Okay.
Well, it was lovely
Of
to see
course.
you again.
Yes.
Hope you have a wonderful time.
Yeah.
You as well.
he gets up and begins to walk down the hallway in your direction, James, as Mito's in the middle of laying down some playing cards. As he passes
Actually,
by,
James would volunteer to shuffle.
by all fucking means,
Oh.
take the lead. If you cheat
You
on me, I'll
all
fucking
ever play Omaha?
Omaha? Do I look like I'm fucking 12 to you? Yeah,
I
let's
mean, I don't know.
Oh, fuck. All right, play some Omaha. As Bertram walks by, Bertram actually, like, Vito, like, intentionally sticks his foot out a little bit, and Bertram, like, trips over his foot and, like, stumbles but doesn't fully eat shit. And Vito goes, hey, buddy, watch where you're fucking going. And Bertram goes,
I'm sorry.
and he shuffles away.
Before he shuffles away,
Yeah.
James is going to lay a hand right on his chest. Be like, hey,
I'm
watch where you're going. And as he pulls away, there's like a good $10, just $10 bill laid flat on it, right where, right out of the eye of Vito.
Right on, right on. Bertrand goes,
yes, of course. My apologies.
nods, and then shuffles away. Vito says, okay, so let's get this straight. What is your deal, man? You look like you kill people for a living. I might have a job for you, actually.
I wouldn't say I do it for a living, but I wouldn't say I haven't either.
Oh, you remind me a lot of my old cousin, yeah. But hey, all right. So what's this game you want me to play? You guys play a few different games until eventually Vito insists you play poker. By this point, as the games go on, it's mostly you guys in the car, as James, Mason, Kit, Sybil, Jackson have moved on to the bar cart. For playing poker, why don't you actually give me a luck check real quick against Vito?
Oh, fuck. Here we go. Here we go, boys. Let's lose at poker.
Shit.
It's just the luck one, right?
Yeah, just
Straight luck?
Just straight luck.
Fuck.
Ah!
Hell yes. Hell yes.
Hey.
Yes,
Fuck
absolutely.
yeah.
You guys play a pretty. You have a good poker face, and you get a good hand. You get a good couple hands. You're not playing for money right now. You're just just playing just for just recreation. At one point, it's Art just backs out of it, and it's just you and Vito staring each other down, and then you slap down your hand, and you got some trump cards here, man.
Sorry, buddy.
Vito looks at you. Okay, you fucking pocketing cards? No way you get 3 hands in a row like that, buddy. Oh, fuck you.
I'm
This
just
guy.
good at cards.
Fuck you. He throws his cards down. You see he has 2 black 8s, 2 black aces, and a king of hearts. He goes, fucking nothing. Fucking something, but not fucking nothing. Not against that shit. Points at your deck. All right.
Absolutely not. Not a goddamn thing.
He kind of adjusts and goes, well, as fun as this has been, it's going on like in the later afternoon now. You guys have been playing cards and like chilling here for a while. He goes, as fun as this be, I'm gonna have to catch you later. I got some other business I need to attend to, but you know what? I'm gonna fucking get you back for that one. I'm gonna get you fucking back.
Tell you what. Before you go, and James takes out his pack of smokes that he was out there with earlier, offers one over to him.
Thank you very kindly, good sir. Takes the smoke, walks out. Later, throughout the afternoon and like into the early evening, Sybil, Kit, Mason, you guys are having a good time in the club lounge. It's getting to see the desert as it folds up behind you. Occasionally, Hector Barnell, the conductor, will pass through and just like give you updates on the schedule. Next up, Barstow! And then like later on, around like after you guys depart from Barstow, he goes, next up, Seligman, Arizona, arriving at 2:15 in the morning Pacific time. and just begins to shout that up and down the train to keep everyone aware of the schedule. You guys are just having a good time socializing. Jackson leads so many charismatic activities that he ropes Mason into. Like, Jackson is an extremely personable person, and then his trump card is by bringing Mason into the fray as well, and then slowly getting all of the other figures. And actually, Kit, much to your relief, he actually gets a lot of people warmed up to your presence as well, so you don't notice many, like, side takes. And at one point, like, Jackson leans over to you and says, Kit, I got your back. At one point, Mason, you're kind of in the middle of having a good time socializing. You feel a hand on your shoulder, you turn around. You see this Spanish gentleman that James had encountered earlier who goes, I am so sorry to disrupt your conversation. Would you terribly mind informing me who that gentleman is? Pointing at Jackson.
Oh, it's just a friend of mine, Jackson. He's a very good talker, as you can see.
Wait, Jackson Elias? The famous folklorist Jackson Elias? I have to admit.
And Mason's face kind of like tenses for a second.
Mm-hmm.
Just as like recovering from, kind of past events, having something like that just like at him, it tenses him up a little bit. Furrows his brow for a second. And then he discards it immediately. Yeah. As a matter of fact, yes, how do you know about him?
I am a fan of Mr. Elias's books. Would it be an imposition to ask you to introduce me to him?
Absolutely. What's your name, by the way?
Salvador Suarez, but please feel free to call me Sal.
Alrighty, Sal. Hi, I'm Mason Allen. It's nice to meet you.
This is one of
just flashing a smile.
It angers you how handsome this man is.
Wow.
It might anger him a little bit, but Mason's also like...
He also hands you like a business card as well for Coronado Mining Company based out of Lyons, Kansas. He goes, I won't make a fuss over it. I would love to meet Mr. Elias. I have read his books. Are you a fan of his work as well, by any chance?
Well, I actually didn't know that he wrote before I met him.
Shuffles over. Introduces himself to Jackson and goes, Mr. Elias, I have what to say. I read your book, Witch Cults of England, as well as your previous text. What was he? Like, snaps his finger a few times. And Jackson grins and says, well, I mean, I've published a couple of tomes myself. I'm glad to hear that you like Witch Cults of England, though. It's one of my more popular pieces. I actually have a book coming out next month, actually. And Sal goes, oh really, would you happen to impart a little knowledge upon a fan? Well, yes. Next month I'll be releasing my next book, The Black Power. If you read my book, The Way of Terror, expands on that. Some more material on the Asian and African death cults. I'm sure you know all about it, but it'll be coming out through New York pretty soon. And Sal goes, I have to admit, I am fan. Perhaps you and I could have some conversation later. I would love to discuss some folklore that might interest you. And Jackson goes, well, if I'm not pulled away by my friends here, I'd be more than happy to... Kristen looks like she wants to say something.
I just want to know if people heard that.
Yeah, of course you heard that.
I'm like, folklore?
Mason takes a look at Sybil, looks back at them, kind of like wiggles his eyebrows a little bit, scrunches his nose, like, yeah.
Folklore, you said.
Oh, hello there. Yes, folklore. By any chance, are any of you familiar with the 7 cities of gold?
Maybe refresh my memory.
I would be more than happy to regale you all with it later over maybe a nice club soda or two after the main crowds have dispersed and we can now enjoy some company together. Sorry for disturbing you and your friends, Mr. Elias, but I embarrassed to admit I did not bring my copy of The Smoking Heart on board with me. I would otherwise ask you to sign it. And Mr. Jackson goes, it's more than okay. Don't worry about it. I'd be happy to talk with you later. But if you don't mind, I would like to get back to my friends. And Sal goes, of course. See you around later. Perhaps over breakfast tomorrow. And Jackson nods, looks at you guys, and says, I think breakfast sounds great.
Sybil just nods the most enthusiastically. Yes, absolutely.
Sal.
I would love to hear this.
Sal steps away. Jackson turns to you all and goes, "That man, by being a fan, reeks of business and money. Wouldn't be the first time, but I want to hear what he has to say. Personally, I'm always interested in finding a new storyline." Excellent. Aside from that, the evening, the rest of the first day of train travel largely goes by pretty uneventfully. The train passes into outside passes into night, gets later in the evening. The next stop won't be until like the middle of the night anyway, so mostly people like linger around, hang out, have a good time. Once the bar crowd is thinned a bit more, whoever's around Jackson is like, "Well, I hope nobody minds, but I brought a little something special on board," bringing out the bottle of Pisco.
Sybil.
Oh, you're kidding.
Am I around for that? Is that in the lounge?
Yes.
Oh, James is making his way right the fuck back over to this group.
Yeah. He goes, "Now, I know it's technically illegal to transport, but I bought this in a foreign country and it's going to my private homestead and I'm happy to share it for free with people. Also, it is, if I may speak frankly, a bullshit law. So let's have a few drinks."
You're here.
Yes. And Jackson pours some glasses of brandy, looks at you, James, says, looks at you, Sunil, and grins at you and says, with a pipe in his mouth, he gesticulates away and says, "Don't you think you're a little young to be drinking here, son?" He begins pouring without a word. Like,
Okay.
yeah.
It's by this point that James like approaches, like, aren't you a little too young to be drinking? And sits down next to him.
Great, you guys enjoy some drinks. Then the evening peels away. Mostly, I assume you guys find your way to your individual cabins that first night. Go to sleep. Yeah, and the train journey is relatively nice. Give me 1 second here. So,
I was just waiting for the big bomb.
how does everybody
24.
sleep, by the way?
In quality of rest, or
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, how is everyone sleeping? Like, the quality of it, I should say. Yeah. Heavy sleeping, light sleeping,
Light sleeping.
sleeping.
Don't do much heavy sleeping.
Yeah, not the greatest.
Mason has been kind of struggling to, well, not to like to just sleep at night. He can sleep. It's just not for very long increments. He wakes up several times throughout the night, just kind of small flashes of
Excellent.
just shit,
Over the rocking din of the train cars into the late night, unbeknownst to our investigators, as they will come to be known, a sound muffled by the rocking of the train in the late evening rings out in one of the cabins.
Oh.
But none of you hear it. The next morning, individually, people find themselves waking up to what sounds like a commotion. Kit, you actually come to consciousness first by hearing someone down the hallway throughout the train yelling, "Is there a doctor? Does anyone want a doctor?"
Kit like snaps awake, and it's sheer instinct at this point. Grabs his bag, shakes Mason. They need a doctor, and is fucking out, and following the sound of the voice.
Shit.
Absolutely, you
And,
fall asleep.
Mason, in a sleepy haze, is like, oh fuck. Okay, and he's just gonna kind of follow Kit.
Yeah, you follow Kit running. Everyone else hears this commotion going on as you kind of like awake, and Kit, you run through the couple of cars to like the farthest car from you. You were more towards the back. Sybil was more towards the middle, but you go to the very frontmost sleeping car behind all the other rest of the procession of the train. You get there, you see that there's like a crowd of people who are being like, like the conductor's trying his best to get through them, and the conductor says, "Is anybody on this damn train a doctor?"
I'm a doctor. Kit can't talk very loud, but is raising his hand.
You're
and
with him,
waving.
Mason?
Yeah, we have a doctor right here. Everyone make some space, just for a second, please.
Yeah, the conductor
Thank you,
points to Mason and
Mason.
says, "Thank you, please help me." Making a score. Kit, you worm your way through. You look into this compartment. It's one of the drawing room compartments. It's a 3-person compartment. However, they can be bought for one person to say as like a larger, more luxury room. There is a body on the ground in here. There is a blood kind of soaking across the floor. Immediately right off the bat, you can tell that this is not a new development. This body has been here for at least a few hours. That is your first immediate assessment. But looking at the body, lying dead on the ground is the corpse of Vito Castiglione.
Kit's gonna stop cold. Mason, wait outside.
Is everything okay?
Wait outside.
All right, you got it, Doc. Thank you. And Mason will just kind of keep watch, like he's gonna be like, everything's gonna be okay. Everything's fine. Let's all just try to calm down, right? Right? And just like showing a smile, like let's stay calm. Calm.
Kit, your first initial assessment of the scene, by looking at this body, without having to make a check. Beyond that, there will be rolls need to be made. Man has been dead for a few hours, and he was killed by a gunshot wound to the abdomen. And we end there for tonight.
Good shit.
We'll see.
That's the first session.
We'll see what happens next week on the California Limited as we look into the murder of Vito Castiglione. Until next time, chat. You round.
Ooh.